There's been some really interesting leaks when it comes to the video game space, specifically when it comes to the Xbox. All right, this came courtesy of a leaker yesterday. Ecstatics, I guess. I don't really know how to say it. This is all elite speak. Claims to have obtained a leaked Microsoft roadmap outlining a new disk to digital program and expanded backwards compatibility plans. This is going to be rolled out apparently pretty quick. But the long and short of it is that apparently the next Xbox will be designed to play every single Xbox game ever made. So it's like the ultimate form of backwards compatibility here.
The way it should be.
I agree.
I doubt that, but yeah, that'd be nice.
You don't think so, Phoenix?
No, I don't see that. I don't. I'm very much aware of this disc to digital thing, and if that's true, I think that's a very good alternative. That's good on them for at least providing some kind of solution. But I don't know how that's going to work unless, especially without a disk drive. So I don't know how that would work, because then you're going to get into licensing issues. And if the game was never provided as digital, how does that work? So my point is, let's say they have, okay, you can go to a Microsoft store and you can hand in your disc and then they give you a digital version of it. From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason why this might work for Xbox One games is because those were always, if you remember in the beginning, Xbox One originally was going to have this like code on the disc or something, some technology that understands that each one is signed to you, that each individual disc has its own like number or whatever. The other 360 games didn't have that. The original Xbox didn't have that. So I don't know how they're going to do that. And again, licensing issues. So how would this possibly work? And if there's no disk drive, then fuck all. Help me out here.
Well, here we go. It says, before you get too excited about backwards compatibility, you should know this isn't the same thing as sticking a PS4 disc into your PlayStation 5 or a Switch cartridge playing on your Switch 2 and pressing play. First, Helix may not have a disk drive at all. Last we heard, Microsoft is still deciding that. Second, it appears that these forms of backwards compatibility are at the mercy of game publishers. The leaked memo is Microsoft trying to convince those publishers by dangling profit in front of their eyes. The memo is literally addressed to publishers, and it's transparently a sales pitch. One section is titled, Why Publishers Win. Spoiler, publishers primarily win because they can sell old games like they're new again, right here. This is right here. So
this is like the same strategy they had with the Xbox One when they were trying to get the backwards compatibility, and then they would bring out a couple of list of new games and new people, new publishers that were willing to get on board. That is feasible, but to say everything, I doubt significantly. Maybe 20% of the library, 10% of the library. I could see. Great if it can. I'm all for it.
Even with the disc to digital, where publishers presumably don't get a new sale, Microsoft offers a carrot. Turn physical disc owners into digital customers is the company's sales pitch here. Maybe Johnny won't buy a new copy of Mass Effect from you, EA, but perhaps he'll buy 5 future games digitally. Don't get me wrong. It's good that Microsoft has carrots to dangle here, but it sounds like the Xbox maker can't even convert Xbox discs digitally without a publisher buy-in. In terms of engineering, Microsoft says publishers don't need to lift a finger to make disc to digital work. Publishers' action, none required. It writes, but Microsoft says early on that both of its new game preservation require opt-in right here. So they're trying to get publishers to opt in. It's interesting because games have changed hands. You think about all the acquisitions that happen in the video game space. There are some games from 2006, some games from 2016 that are just kind of lost. They're just kind of, you don't even know who owns the rights to those games anymore. So that's, I don't know. I love the idea of having something that you can play all of your stuff on. But it just comes back to licensing here. Rev, this seems kind of like a pipe dream.
Because it is.
You don't see this happening at all, or do you think that...
I say it's unlikely. Mm-hmm. But of course, it'd be great. Going beyond your point too, like seeing IPs through the years go through so many different hands, that's obviously something nobody likes. But yeah, I don't know. Feels like bait.
You know what's interesting is to see... Not too long ago, they had the This Is an Xbox ad campaign. Kind of notorious, where they're showing off your phone, showing off your PC, showing off your TV, showing off pretty much anything with the screen saying, this is an Xbox.
Including Ellen Page.
including Ellen Page. Do they show Ellen Page?
No, she's just an Xbox.
But it seems like they've totally just moved on from that and just kind of they're memory holding that idea and they're putting the focus back on the console, which, I said this before, if, we see this all the time where if you have a product for everybody, then you have a product for nobody, right? And if everything is an Xbox, then nothing's an Xbox. But now it sounds like they're trying to say, okay, no, this truly is an Xbox here. This Helix that we're going to be releasing here in the next couple of years.
It was tone deaf. It doesn't understand console players. Console players don't want any of that shit. They want a console. PC gamers would probably love the idea that you can play it on your refrigerator. It's just two different markets, and I'm not saying that negatively. It's just two different mindsets. Console player, they like the idea of collecting things. They like it on a set box. They can put it in their living room and stuff like that. They don't need it on their refrigerator or their calculator. That's not what they want. I'm happy they ditched that.
Yeah, but you can play Doom on anything, Phoenix.
Including a pregnancy test.
That's true. This is true. Yes, absolutely. All right. But yeah, I mean, look, Xbox hasn't really been relevant in a decade, I would say. So they got to make some changes, and I'm open to those changes. I really am.
I'm rooting for them. Because I actually would love to see them take down PlayStation, because PlayStation has turned into the fucking evil empire. That you're looking at what happens when there's a semi-monopoly going on. You can see what happens. So I would love to see Xbox come out swinging. I'd love to see the Xbox of old. I'd love to see some great games again. Please, Perfect Dark, for the love of God. I'm rooting for them, and all they have to do to get a good, I'm not saying they're going to win the console over this, but all they have to do is say, we have an attachment drive to put on this thing, and you're going to get hundreds of thousands of people very excited about that. And that's hundreds of thousands of people you would not have had. And that gains momentum. And then if they're on social media, if they're influencers, creators, things like that, that goes a long way. So hopefully they got something good cooking.
What do you think that from a value prop, from a developer to a consumer perspective, the idea of, well, are you willing, let's just say hypothetically, you do have to trade in your game, right? I have an old copy of Black for the Xbox 360. And, that was a fun little shooter FPS back in the day. And the Xbox goes, look, trade in your physical and you can play it forever on your new Xbox Helix. Like, do you think that'll get people to convert over? Because I saw, Rolando says it sounds like they're trying to ease customers into digital ownership, or should I say no ownership, right? You think is that a carrot for the customer, for the normie who's going to go like, okay,
20 or 30%, 20 or 30, maybe 30%, because most people who own physical now are usually, I would say, they're most likely diehards. They're collectors, right? Who this would appeal to are the people that bought the Maddens and things like that, the Call of Duties here and there, never really gave a shit. They play every once in a while and then forget about it. I think it could work for there. I will say, from my understanding and the rumor, and it's still a rumor, that you actually still get to keep your disc, by the way. That's what I've heard, at least with the Xbox One titles. But no, I don't see that being a major success, because I look at myself, there's no way in hell I'm going to give over my disc for a digital version. There's no way in hell. And I think I speak for a lot of kind of diehard console fans.
I think you're right. You're right. All right. Rev, you got anything to close on that? Any thoughts on the move for Xbox?
No, I think I'm with Phoenix there. I would be very hesitant to give over a physical copy if that's what they would require for this. But I think most people, everyone's got like this fatigue with anything involving physical versus digital. And they see anything that even mentions one of those and they immediately think the worst. And that's kind of the parameters we're in right now. But like Xbox can do so much by just not being cartoonishly evil with their practices right now, like with PlayStation. So
I think I would love the idea of them offering just an alternative when it comes to physical. That's all they got to do. Just offer.
That's all they have to do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Phoenix. I think that's great. That'd be awesome. But alas, very unlikely.